Now we are going to see the fourth unit, frequency response analysis. So in this unit we are having introduction, the frequency domain specifications, then Bode diagram, determination of frequency domain specifications and transfer function from Bode diagram, then stability analysis from Bode plots, then polar plots, then Nyquist plots, then finding the phase margin and gain margin, then stability analysis, then compensators, that is lag lead and lag lead compensator, design in frequency domain. Okay. First we are going to see what is sinusoidal transfer function. The response of a system for a sinusoidal input is called sinusoidal response. So if you are giving a sinusoidal input to a signal and the output what you are getting is something called sinusoidal response. The ratio of sinusoidal response and the sinusoidal input is called sinusoidal transfer function of the system. So what is sinusoidal transfer function? It is a ratio of sinusoidal response and sinusoidal input, and it is called sinusoidal transfer function of the system, and it is denoted by T of j omega. The sinusoidal transfer function is the frequency domain representation of the system, so it is called frequency domain transfer function. So the sinusoidal transfer function is also called as frequency domain transfer function. So how to obtain the sinusoidal transfer function? First we have to construct a physical model of a system using basic elements or parameters. Then you have to determine the differential equation governing the system from the physical model of the system. Then take Laplace transform of differential equation in order to convert them to S domain. Then determine the S domain transfer function T of S, which is a ratio of S domain output and S domain input. Determine the frequency domain transfer function T of j omega by replacing S by j omega in the S domain transfer function T of S. If the S domain transfer function T of S is known, then the frequency domain transfer function T of j omega can be obtained directly from T of S just by replacing S by j omega. So consider a linear time invariant system with the frequency domain transfer function T of j omega. So R of t is the input and C of t is the output. So the input what you are giving is nothing but a sinusoidal signal. R of t is equal to A into sin omega t plus theta, and C of t is nothing but the output what you are getting. Let the system be excited by a sinusoidal signal of frequency omega, and it is having an amplitude of A and phase of theta. Now the response or output will also be sinusoidal signal of same frequency. But the amplitude and phase of the response will be modified by the amplitude and phase of the transfer function respectively. The amplitude of the response is given by the product of the amplitude of input and transfer function. So how we will get the amplitude of the response? Amplitude of the response will be getting by taking the product of amplitude of input and amplitude of transfer function. So T of j omega is nothing but the sinusoidal transfer function, and this is the magnitude and this is the phase. So already I have told that input R of t is nothing but A into sin omega t plus theta, where A is the amplitude of the input and omega is the frequency of the input and theta is nothing but the phase of the input. Now the response is nothing but R of t into T of j omega. Now we are going for frequency response. The frequency domain transfer function T of j omega is a complex function of omega. Hence, it can be separated into magnitude function and phase function. So, what is frequency response? Varying the frequency to a system and observing the response. It is something called frequency response. Here, the magnitude and phase functions will be real functions of omega and they are called frequency response. The frequency response can be calculated for both open loop as well as closed loop transfer function. Both open loop and closed loop transfer function, we can calculate the frequency response. So, the frequency domain transfer function can be obtained by replacing S by j omega. So, if you are having a transfer function g of s, then if you substitute s is equal to j omega, then you will be getting S domain transfer function. So, what is closed loop transfer function? Closed loop transfer function is nothing but C of s divided by R of s is equal to G of s divided by 1 plus G of s H of s. That we are taking it as M of s. So, in this M of s, if you substitute s is equal to j omega, you will be getting frequency domain transfer function. So, the advantages of frequency response analysis are the following. The absolute and relative stability of closed loop system can be estimated from the knowledge of open loop frequency response. Another second advantage is the practical testing of systems. It can be easily carried with available sinusoidal signal generators and precise measurement equipments. So, if you are having one complex system, then the transfer function of that complex system can be easily found out by using this frequency response test. The design and parameter adjustment of open loop transfer function of a system for specified closed loop performance is carried out more easily in frequency domain. So, certain tests, it can be easily done in frequency domain than in time domain. So, these are the advantages of your frequency response analysis. Another advantage is the effect of noise, disturbance and parameters variation. It can be visualized easily in frequency response. So, it can be also used for nonlinear control systems. Now, we are going for frequency domain specifications. The performance and characteristics of a system in frequency domain are measured in terms of frequency domain specification. So, the requirement of a system to be designed are usually specified in terms of these frequency domain specifications. Now, we are going to see what are the frequency domain specifications. The frequency domain specifications are: first one resonant peak, second one resonant frequency, third one bandwidth, fourth one cutoff rate, fifth one gain margin, sixth one phase margin. These are the frequency domain specification. What are the frequency domain specifications? First one resonant peak, second one resonant frequency, and third one bandwidth, fourth one cutoff rate, fifth one gain margin, and sixth one phase margin. These are the frequency domain specifications. First, we are going for resonant peak. What does it mean by resonant peak? The resonant peak is nothing but the maximum value of magnitude of closed loop transfer function is called resonant peak. What is resonant peak? It is a maximum value of magnitude of closed loop transfer function. A large resonant peak corresponds to a large overshoot in transient response. Okay. So there are two types of response is there. One is steady state response, another one is transient response. This resonant peak, it is coming only in transient response. If you are having a resonant peak value large, then its meaning is there is a large overshoot. The next one is resonant frequency. The resonant frequency is nothing but it is a frequency at which this resonant peak occurs. Actually, this resonant frequency, this is related to the frequency of oscillation in step response, and thus it is indicative of speed of transient response. So, this resonant frequency indicates the speed of the transient response. How speed our response is. So now we are going for bandwidth. Bandwidth is nothing but the range of frequencies for which the normalized gain of the system is more than -3 dB. So now we are going to study cutoff frequency. The frequency at which the gain is -3 dB is called cutoff frequency. Usually the bandwidth is defined only for closed loop system. This bandwidth transmits the signal whose frequencies are less than the cutoff frequency. So the bandwidth is a measure of ability of a feedback system to reproduce the input signal, noise rejection characteristics and rise time. A large bandwidth corresponds to a small rise time and fast response. If you are having a large bandwidth, its meaning is it is having a small rise time and it is having fast response. Next one is cutoff rate. The slope of log magnitude curve near the cutoff frequency is called cutoff rate. So what is cutoff rate? It is nothing but the slope of log magnitude curve near the cutoff frequency is called cutoff rate. The cutoff rate indicates the ability of the system to distinguish the signal from noise. So if a system is having a good cutoff rate, it means it has the ability to reject noise and it will select only the signal. Now we are going for two important things. One is gain margin, another one is phase margin. First one, gain margin. So gain margin is defined as the value of gain is to be added to a system in order to bring the system to the verge of instability. So what is gain margin? It is a value of gain that has to be added to the system in order to bring the system to the verge of instability. Next one, phase margin. Before that, we'll see phase crossover frequency. The phase crossover frequency is nothing but the frequency at which the phase of the open loop transfer function is 180 degree. What is phase crossover frequency? The frequency at which the phase of the open loop transfer function is 180 degree is called phase crossover frequency. So gain margin is nothing but 1 divided by phase crossover frequency. Now we are going for phase margin. Phase margin is defined as the additional phase lag to be added at the gain crossover frequency in order to bring the system to the verge of instability. What is phase margin? Phase margin is nothing but the additional phase lag what we have to add to the gain crossover frequency in order to bring the system to the verge of instability. So gain crossover frequency is omega GC. So what is gain crossover frequency? Gain crossover frequency is a frequency at which the magnitude of the open loop transfer function is unity. Or in other words, we can say it is a frequency at which the dB magnitude is 0. So phase margin is nothing but 180 degree plus 5 GC.